Good morning, Vietnam. This is Crypto and Cocktails, the official 10-7 podcast. My name, as always, is Tyler. This is our man of the hour,
Tim Nihill.
So we wanted to kind of do something a little different today. Usually we get recommendations for cocktails that we show on this podcast from people we know in the business. Sometimes I'll make the cocktails myself, or sometimes, I'll look on lists of cocktails that are local here in Maine where we record. I wanted to do something a little bit different today, so we had Tim over here make a cocktail of his own little creation to share with the world. Do you want to kind of give us a rundown?
Yeah, so I was playing around this week and, hanging out. We had a busy week last week with work. We had a lot of meetings now that a lot of our business contacts are coming back from the South. But I'm a big fan of probiotic soda. I love Poppi. As an example, the kids love Poppi. All our kids love Poppi. It's one of my daughter's favorite drinks, and I don't believe soda's bad for you, so sorry. Anyways, I grabbed the cream soda because I'm like, I want to try something new. I poured it in a glass. It was sitting next to my master's cup, and I'm like, the yellow color matched. So then it just gave me this idea, like, hey, I'm going to come up with a new cocktail, and it's going to be, for me, it's April focused, and the inspiration is the month of April, because for us, it's like we're a hockey family. We're coming out of the drudges of winter. We haven't seen the sun up north in 4 months, and you're just kind of tired and lolly and gray. And every April, well, what do you get to start? You get the Masters. You get Augusta, right? Within the first week and a half. And if there's one tournament I get jazzed about watching, like I have golf on in the background, here and there, but I don't really get jazzed to watch many tournaments. But Augusta every year, every April, like, my phone goes to the Masters ringer, like, that entire month. On top of that, once hockey's over and you're done with all the tournaments, it's like, man, I gotta go back down south to our headquarters and get some sun, right? So I just said, the color matches the Masters glass. I put a lime in there to match, the green that's in the Masters logo. The cherry on top with the stem is kind of like the little flag. There are two ways you could do this. You could go with, I used Astral, which is a Blanco, a white tequila, with a little sprinkle of salt. If you want something a little bit sweeter, you could go for like a Caribbean rum. But this is kind of happiness in a glass and sunshine in a glass. And that's what I call my youngest daughter, Sophie. So she's my sunshine.
Shout out.
Shout out to Sophie. So this is called Every April. We're going to post a recipe for it. We hope you enjoy it. And this is our inspiration for the week.
Absolutely. Oh.
Thank you, Waterford, for these glasses.
Salud. Ooh.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It comes at you in waves.
And I'm not a fan. I'm not huge on cream soda. I was when I was like a smaller kid.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it was like those orange creamsicles we used to eat. But I'm kind of hit or miss on the flavor. But when I put this all together, I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
I was weird. I mean, I never really had soda that much as a kid, just in general. I started trying soda when I was in like high school and college, because I was like, well, I mean, everybody drinks this. I may as well just give it a try. And it's like a whole other world. I mean, this is like, it's like a cream punch, and it's just everything rolled into one. I love all the different fruits that you got going in this. I wanted to ask, by the way, you mentioned the Waterford glasses. What's the story behind those? Because those are hard to come by.
Well, I mean, my family line is our bloodline is from Ireland. So last October, for my birthday, I took your mom to Waterford, and we went right to the factory. It's a lot different now. Like, I went to Waterford for the first time back in 2000, so that's 99, 2000, so that's 25 years ago, so it's completely different. But it was really, really cool to go to the factory, do the tour of the factory, just see their process and how meticulous they are, right? Like, it is so hard to get those designs through, and even if you have the slightest thing off, like, it's in the garbage.
Do they glass blow it there in the factory?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they have a whole line of people in ovens that are blowing the glass, shaping it, and it's cool. I mean, these people are doing it, and these glass blowers are heavily trained, right? Like they're world class. They're the best in the world at this. So you just can't go work at Waterford. You need, I forgot what they said the training requirements were, but they were pretty spectacular. And it's very impressive to watch them work with the glass. And then you go through the different sections and you see all the designs that are coming out. Last year, I think they had the first ever college football game played in Dublin, where Georgia Tech whooped on Florida State. Go Jackets! They had for every trophy they make, like they were making a trophy for the NBA, like for the their NBA championship trophy.
Mm-hmm.
They basically make 3, right? So they make 3, they find the one that's perfect, and they keep another 1 or 2 as backup just in case something happens in shipping and it gets damaged in the process somehow. But it was really cool because we got to see there was a platter with kind of Georgia Tech, Florida State, and then there was a football there and all that good stuff.
Yeah, European glass blowing is next level. I mean, I've seen it done on occasion here in the States, but over in Europe, like I went to. You ever been to the Murano factory in Venice?
No, I didn't go there.
It's insane. I mean, that is probably the most famous glass blowing place in the world, at least as far as I'm aware. They show it to you right there. They literally have these like, it looks like a Renaissance art studio out of like a history documentary. They have that stuff in there, and they show the whole process. You can see the glass while it's red hot. They walk you through the whole thing, and then you end in the gift shop where they're like, all right, so what do you want to buy from, what you just saw made?
Right. Well, and I was born in Western New York, and I grew up going to Corning, right? And you had Corningware. So my parents and grandparents and my grandfather took us to the Corningware factory when I was young. So I got to see glass blowing and the art around glassware, glass design at a very, very young age. So it's pretty wild to see it in Ireland and in water and watched the people at Waterford do it. I know a lot of people keep it on the shelf and they never use their Waterford stuff
because it's kind of a collector's item.
It is, and there's this is like a signature class of it. Like your mom and I, we just love the design of it, and it's something that's very classic. And
so, what have you done? You've depreciated the value of this thing. What have you done?
I use it every day.
Disgusting.
If I buy it, I'm going to use it. I don't know why I would keep it collecting dust on the shelf.
Yeah, it's like keeping
Give
rare
me your best glassware.
It's like keeping rare china. It's like, what's the point of having it if you're not going to use it for a tea or something?
Right.
Like, we only have one life.
Yeah, exactly. One life to live. Have a good time. They say YOLO, but
Please never say that again.
I won't do that again.
Please.
Sorry.
He's been trying. He's been trying to understand the slang of his children, and from what I've seen, they haven't taken too kindly to it.
No, they have not.
The future is now, old man.
I guess so. Well, welcome to every April.
You can stay ahead of the curve in the financial world. You're ahead of the curve over there. Leave the social media. Leave the social media to the kids.
No, I agree with you. It was funny because I was even trying to do a post on Instagram today of Memorial Day weekend. It's a celebration, and my grandfathers both fought in World War II, and so we have we're kind of have the military background and the service background, and I don't even know how to post properly on Instagram.
Well, that's what you have a team for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we have a team for.
I'll stay in my lane.
But speaking of your lane, I did have a couple questions I wanted to ask you. Obviously, today's podcast is going to be a little shorter, but I did have some important things I wanted to ask, especially, building on what we discussed last time about, getting into crypto and why especially that is important as a tool for people to be able to live the lives they want to live, decentralized finance, that whole world. Because that's the way a lot of the financial sector is going, whether people want to accept it or understand it or not.
It's already there.
But I wanted to ask a couple more questions because I think you mentioned on the last episode that probably the best way, and obviously, not financial advice, ask a professional, but one of the things you mentioned was probably, in your opinion, the best way to really get into decentralized finance. Not necessarily would be just generating it by mining because that's so resource intensive, but just by investment.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to ask a few more questions about the investment side of things. I think a lot of people might want to know about that, especially people in our world who may want to, give crypto a shot, may want to see how it works.
How to get into it. Right. So there are a couple of different ways to do it. You could start very easily in a retirement and brokerage account and buy an ETF. It's an exchange traded fund. Um, there's a misnomer about ETFs, right? Like all ETFs are is they're just digital units on a computer that when you give a financial institution your money, they give you a value, a computer unit of an investment that's digital. That's all it is. Whether or not the institution goes and actually buys the underlying asset underneath the ETF, you have to read the fine print of the prospectus to know exactly what they're doing. So some institutions will say, okay, if I buy a Bitcoin ETF, like IBIT for BlackRock is a good example, is BlackRock going to then take my dollar and purchase $1 worth or $1,000 or $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to back my dollar investment? And the answer is maybe, maybe not, because there's security lending and other stuff. But the point of it is the path of least resistance right now is to buy the ETF. The issue with ETFs is you never getting 100% of the asset that you're buying, right? It's a product. It's a packaged product. So you don't actually physically own the Bitcoin. And in the crypto world, there's a saying, not your keys, not your coin, which means if you're not doing self-custody and all that jazz, then you don't actually own the asset, right? Because it's sitting on an exchange, like with brokerage accounts, right? And investments and stocks and all that good stuff. It's not like when you buy a stock, we used to get the security and the stock certificate mailed to us.
Yeah.
It's not like you have that anymore. So buy the ETF, you can absolutely do that. But the issue is in the ETF world, there is something that we call tracking error. And I don't think we're going to understand the performance of these ETFs until we see this next wave up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Bitcoin appreciates in comparison to the US dollar by 25%, let's say, the ETF may only track and go up 20%, right? We don't know what the tracking error on these new ETFs are going to be. So you get the exposure there, but it's not 100%, right? That's step one. That's the easiest for everyone to do.
So if you want to say, you hear buy Bitcoin, you want to just buy Bitcoin, that's probably the best way to do it then, in your opinion, would just be an ETF.
I didn't say it's the best way. I said it's the path of least resistance for most people.
That's fair.
The best way is to hire someone like us. Right?
So walk us through that then. What's that end look like?
It depends on every client, right? Like we can walk people through the process and help them establish their own crypto accounts. We can help people understand how to self-custody. It's almost like having people that own physical gold, silver, bullets and keep them in a safe, right? Especially for a lot of our southern friends and southwestern friends that are out there. You could download onto a wallet and hard drive, you could download your crypto and hold it in your safe just like you would do with physical gold, silver. So you could do it that way. I think the easiest way to do it is to go to an exchange like a Kraken, a Coinbase, a Gemini, for example, and open an account there. And depending on, we have a lot of our clients use Coinbase. And a lot of our clients were in early on this space. So, they open their Coinbase accounts. They're like, hey, here's what we have, and we just help them oversee it. We just keep them up to date on what we're seeing in the crypto space. So there are so many different ways. So if you want the 1, 2, and 3 of this, one, find a professional that can do this with you. And quite frankly, if your professional can't help you buy Bitcoin and acquire Bitcoin, you should fire them, because you're going to fire them in 3 years. This is one of the biggest trades and wealth transfers and shifts that we're going to see in human history. Without a doubt, we're going from the age of industrialism to the age of technology. And everything that's been done since the 1930s is going away. Just none of it works anymore. So, okay, great, goodbye. It was a crappy time period anyways.
It's been good.
Right, it's been good. See you later. So hire somebody. Find someone who can do this. If they can't do it, then you don't have a financial professional. You have a salesperson that dresses up nice and tidy in their business suits or their shirts and ties and polos and their glasses and their clean-cut haircuts, and they're just selling you packaged products.
And their Waterford glasses that aren't being drinking out of.
Glasses that they're not drinking out of. But the point is, it's like, you as a financial professional, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients. And the thought that goes through my head as a fiduciary is, I don't take a stance on whether or not this is going to happen or not. I have to ask myself the question, what if my clients miss out on this? I'm on the hook. So I have to at least know what I'm doing to have the exposures and to help the people that are interested in this space. And now we're all being told that this is happening. Crypto's happening. The new wave of technology and the new wave of economy and money is happening. And it's 24/7 instantaneous settlement. All the assets of all the entire world will be listed on the blockchain. Look it up, Google it. It's called the tokenization of assets. We all know we're going there. It's in our movies. It's everywhere. So just get on board. But do it safely. So one, hire a professional advisor that can help you do this. Two, you can go on your own, go to like Kraken, Coinbase, or Gemini. Open up an account there. You can connect your bank account. You can connect your debit card. You can connect your Apple Pay. I have that too, right? I have this. This is all stuff I've been doing with my personal money as well. So I do that too. And there are coins that I can get at Coinbase or at Kraken or at Gemini that I might not be able to get at other exchanges. But I'm just interested in the coins that I want based on my research that I've done. That these are networks and protocols that I think are going to be a part of our future. So one, hire the professional. Two, you could do it on your own. Or three, just buy it in brokerage through an ETF. And we've talked about this before, and it was funny because I saw this podcast with Anthony Scaramucci, right?
The Mooch.
The Mooch. He's a smart guy out of New York, and he wrote a book, and he got called out on it because he said, "Hey, 5% allocation to crypto," and I think it was Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy said, "Well, how much do you actually own, and how much of your personal assets are in crypto?" And I think he said like 50%. Okay, so if I personally have 50%, but I'm telling everybody 5%, why? Well, the reason is legal and compliance. It's regulation.
Compliance.
Right? It's the CYA of the finance industry, right? And there are reasons for that, right? Yet at the same time, you have to be fully disclosed with and transparent about what you do with your own personal assets. Like if I'm working with a financial professional and I've trained and spoken in front of tens of thousands of advisors across the country, I could probably count on one hand the amount of advisors I'd ever actually give my personal money to, right? And I had a long conversation with a friend and someone who worked for me for a long time before I jumped into this space. Because my friends always knew in the corporate world, they're like, dude, you're going to be building your own business at some point and on your own. Everybody knew it. And my one friend one day, we were talking about it. I'm like, hey, he said, I'm like, I think I'm going to go do this now. And he goes, listen, he goes, I think if you have 5 fingers on a hand, you're the ring finger in this space. So that gave me the confidence to get over my own personal fears of making the jump into entrepreneurship and business building and all that stuff. But, there's a reason for why we have legal and compliance But at the same time, I feel you have to be transparent with what you do personally for your clients. Like, I want my clients to know, hey, like we talked about before, a lot of this stuff we do for our clients I've already done with my own money, right? So they're not getting something we don't understand. We've done it with our own personal assets. And then before we come out with any recommendation to our clients, we already know the ins and outs and the good, bad, and the ugly sometimes.
And I know you've recommended to other professionals that you've met and spoken with to do the same because, I mean, it's like you said a few minutes ago, you know, if you are not ahead of the curve on something, or at least are on top of something, and this thing winds up being huge and your client didn't get any taste of it, then that's on you. You're on the hook. The client's going to be like, why didn't you do this?
Right.
This is my money. Why didn't you take care of this? Why weren't you on top of this? And that blame is going to come on you as the professional.
For sure. And I share with people that we work with, like, nothing is ever 100%, right? We're trying to bat 90, 95 to 100, you know, between that range. 90 to 100, we do that's an excellent job in our space because it's not easy to do what we do. But I can tell you, like, I'll be at Bitcoin at the conference next week, and there are advisors there that are afraid of this because they know what this is, but because of who they're affiliated with, they can't do it. And that is going to be a big problem, right? Mm-hmm. So we're being told Bitcoin is now digital gold. Well, how big is physical gold? It's pretty darn big. So, not to say it's the gold rush, but it might be the digital gold rush. And as with the real gold rush that happened back in, the 1800s, early 1800s?
Yeah, mid-1800s.
Mid-1800s, Louisiana Purchase, all that good stuff.
California especially.
California, yep. Okay, so if you're at East Coast and you're trying to get to California for the gold rush, a lot of people died along the way of like Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Same with crypto.
You ever played Oregon Trail?
I loved Oregon Trail.
Dysentery.
Dysentery. That was the worst one on that game. I played it. Oh, where was I? I saw Oregon Trail somewhere. They had like that old video console.
Yeah.
And I was back on that thing in a hurry.
Even we know about it. That's just one of the games that survived from your time that we still know. Like, it spread to us. We all know about the dysentery.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is when that game came out, I can't remember exactly what class it was, but it was really the first time we interfaced with computers. And I remember sitting at a computer facing this way and the front of the classroom was over here. And my teacher's talking over there. I could care less, man. I'm playing Oregon Trail.
You're trying not to die of dysentery?
Yeah. You had the Indians that would surround you and all sorts of stuff. Oh, that was such a fun game.
But I did want to, on the note of the Bitcoin conference,
yeah.
I did want to ask more about that, you know. So how did that come about? What are you expecting to see and do there? What are your thoughts going in before you go in? And do you have any plans for what you're going to be showing the 10-7 family from the conference?
Yeah, so my first experience at the Bitcoin conference, we were in Miami. I can't remember. It might have been 2020, 2021. It could have been before COVID. I got to think about this. Anyways, I walked in a skeptic because I'm been in traditional finance for so long. And, my wife and I were talking and I said to Jyoti, I'm like, this is either going to be Comic-Con, right? Like Star Trek type people running around, or this is going to be legit. And we walked in the first day, and keep in mind, we've been to every major financial conference in the United States. All the big ones. Been doing them for years. We were blown away by Bitcoin. Blown away by this conference.
It was legit, huh?
It was insanely legit. And I don't remember if I shared the story in the last podcast. There was a gentleman I saw when I went to charge my phone at my hotel bar. And he had the Manhattan look to him. I'm like, I know exactly who this guy is. So I just kind of start chatting him up a little bit, and come to find out he's from JP Morgan. JP Morgan in the headlines, we hate crypto. Really? Then why are your executives at this conference? Again, that's why they pay marketing people $100,000 a year. They're preparing you for the news. They're not telling you the news. So we walked away from Bitcoin like, this is absolutely legit. And then at that time, I also have a friend of mine, my friend Trent, who retired from being a financial advisor because he realized everything that he taught his clients was wrong. He had someone he worked with his entire life, since his client was 30 years old, that died within 5 years of retiring. Because no one's preparing people for the mental transition that happens with going through the life cycle that we've been all trained on, if you will. All of a sudden, you have your entire livelihood and everything you work for, one, goes away at the drop of the hat, right? Like my grandfather got the gold watch at his retirement from Buffalo Color.
What did that one famous promo? What did Dusty Rhodes say? They give you a watch, they kick you in the butt, they say, "Hey, a computer took your place, Daddy."
Yeah.
That's hard times.
Right. And then, I mean, and if you just kind of observe people in a lot of these retirement communities across the country and you see assisted living and all this stuff, it doesn't look like fun.
Do we want to talk about assisted living? Because my God.
I mean, we'll talk senior housing because we do a lot of senior housing. We do retirement communities, not assisted living, anything like that. But what people aren't talking about is it's not just that your livelihood has gone away and everything you worked for, per se. But then you come to the realization of, what have I exactly been doing with my life for the last 40 years?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that are retiring that are dying at a very, very short time period after they stop working. Because they're not prepared for a transition. They're not thinking of, how am I going to fill my day? And all that stuff.
Or worse, there are a lot of people who didn't prepare, who wind up dying years and years and years after it's too late for them to, do any work that's going to make them a ton of money.
Well, and yeah, it's not even about that. And even that happens where people run out of money. And the whole point is, he just realized and he was a financial planner, right? He was a financial planner. And he just came to the realization it was two things. One, what I've been doing doesn't work. And then the second part of that is, I'm seeing this Bitcoin thing, and I'm afraid that as an advisor, I'm going to be out of business soon. And I have to say, I think he's right. And he has transitioned, and his father was an advisor, and they both transitioned into something new, something bigger. Technology, YouTube, etc., has offered them a new avenue. And I just think that we're not going to get paid anymore to necessarily do things for a living anymore, but we're going to get compensated and paid for by sharing information and knowledge and wisdom.
So that's kind of the vibe that a lot of people at the Bitcoin conferences usually go to, including the one that you're about to go to. That's the kind of vibe that people have, and that's what kind of let you know, like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah, and it was
that shared understanding.
There's a shared understanding. Like, if you really step back and look at economy and the systems that have been built for the past 100 years, it just doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. And we've been taken advantage of from the top. Everybody knows it now. And we've completely lost faith in all of our institutions, all of our belief systems, and they're all crumbling down. And it's fine, it happens. It's no big deal. Like, move on. But there's a common understanding and sharing of democratization of finance. There's no reason why we can't all be doing business together. Like, I was following and reading a lecture of someone who I like to follow, and he said, you want to solve a lot of the world's problems? Just have people do business together, right? If you do business with another person, it doesn't matter race, skin color, nationality. None of that matters. We're just here to do business together.
It's just good business.
It's just good business. And you could take care of a lot of stuff by just democratizing the world. And for some reason, when you really study Bitcoin, if it really is truly what it is, you just have this moment where you're like, you get orange pilled.
And not only that, but like a lot of people, especially in my generation, I mentioned this in the first episode, you know, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency get a bad rap with a lot of people because they think, oh, you know, there's a lot of scammers in it. And there's a lot of scammers in it, and there's a lot of scammers in any industry. Of course, there's a lot of scammers in the crypto industry. But if this really were, because of how democratized crypto and Bitcoin is, if this really were a giant grift, then you'd think the entire thing would be a giant grift. But there are, and you can attest to this as someone who's been in the sphere genuinely as a financial professional, there have been a lot of people who are really genuine and believe in what the potential of this is.
Yeah, and once you use the technology for yourself, you see its functionality, you're like, I'll never put $1 in a bank again. And like I said, the banks aren't going away. They're just going to change their, the guts of the banking system to match where we are from a technology perspective. Like, banking is archaic in its current form. And yet, at the same time, we still need people, because not everyone's going to understand how to do this. You need, in order to have this work for the masses across the world, you have to have people in the system that can help support it. And then it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with. And I'm huge on Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. But I'm not a one or the other type thing, right? I don't believe in sacrifice. Like, that never made sense to me. One or the other, like, why not have it all? So I see for different protocols that are out there, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I've been following Ripple and Ripple Labs even through their SEC lawsuit. Like, this is a powerful technology. Like, there are a lot of technologies that are going to change a lot of things. And then you have the entire gaming community, right? And Grand Theft Auto 6, I can't wait for that to come out if I can earn crypto on it, right? I'll sit up at night sometimes and I'll just play for fun. But, the gaming community, you look at the Robinhood starting to incorporate gambling, and all this stuff is just technology driven, right? And then you're going to add artificial intelligence and robots. They're not going to need bank accounts, but you're all going to have some form of medium of exchange, whether it's a Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Stellar, like all sorts of them. There are protocols and platforms and networks out there that have viable technological capabilities and use cases and utility.
If anything, the gaming community, you mentioned them, were at the forefront of this because of all of the older games that had in-game currencies in them.
Yeah. Right, and in-game currencies are a thing. You can see in the meme coin industry, right? These are kind of like your Dogecoin, Shib, Pepe. You just have these massive followings, a network of people.
Or just celebrities that just create meme coins where it's just like their name or like their brand name or something, and they're just like, if you're a fan of me, buy my coin or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's like that one lady, I forget what her name was. That one, like the Hawk Tua coin.
Oh yeah, forget her. We're not even talking about her. But okay, so here's how I look at it, because
I put my life savings in Hawk Tua coin. Where'd it go?
Yeah, exactly. That's caveat emptor. I mean, come on. If you're trying to get rich quick, I say, listen, stay out of crypto if you're trying to get rich quick. I tell that to everybody, because there are ups and downs, and a lot of the initial ups and downs we're through now. So for the most people getting in, they're not going to have the experiences that the early adopters did, right? It's even like the early adopters of any technology, Amazon, Apple, etc.
The dot-com bubble.
The dot-com bubble, all that jazz. Like, we're through that. So go back, tokenization of assets. Every asset you have, car, boat, house, every single thing you have is going to be listed on the blockchain. And as a company, right, as tensevencapital, for example, I look at, we have this thing, it's called ICOs, they're called initial coin offerings. So I was looking at this and I said, okay, I have ideas in my head on developments and projects that I want to work on. And I want to do some sort of crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, whatever, to help enhance and, not do it 100% on my own. What's the best way to raise capital? I can issue a coin now on the blockchain. I could say, we're tensevencapital, we're a family office, here's the project we're working on, here's the return we expect, and here's the annual dividend. And we can sell our coin to the market for anyone that's out there. We pay the dividend. We then gather, right? Let's say it's a real estate project. We then gather all the capital together, and it's no different than what we do in the alternative space, right? Like, if I want to buy build a building next to the new Google headquarters in San Jose, well, I'm raising capital, and I'm buying it in a brokerage account. The difference is in 5-10 years, we're not going to really have brokerage accounts. It's going to be blockchain, and it's going to be coin. So instead of having that traditional structure inside brokerage and that system, it's simply going to be a coin. It doesn't really look any different, but it makes the capital raise easier.
So that's interesting. I definitely want to know more about that, especially because we have a really nice logo that works perfectly for a coin.
It does. It does.
It does.
It
But
does.
I wanted to kind of, and obviously I think people are going to hear more about that in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, there's development, and we're not quite there yet. I got a couple other things that we're focused on first, but it's on the board.
But I wanted to kind of end off with just going back to a part of the question as it relates to the Bitcoin conference. Because obviously you're going there pretty soon. What are you planning to do, like, in particular at the Bitcoin conference as it relates to content? What can everybody watching at home expect from the conference? What are you looking to take away from the conference? Are there any particular events that you're looking to go to, people you're looking to meet? Stuff like that. What can we expect from 10-7 at the conference?
That's a funny question, because as of 7 days ago, I wasn't going to go. And then we're all sitting together, and Vinci, our head of operations, looked at me and he goes, "You have to go to Bitcoin." He said some big announcement is going to happen at this conference this year. And I said, okay, we'll go. And it helps that I have family out there, so it gives me a couple days to go see my uncle and kind of hang out in Nevada, maybe play some golf and all that jazz. So I'll have some golf shots for everybody. But I don't want to give it away, but I definitely think that in prior years, you tended to get this big price increase and then decrease before and after the Bitcoin conference. I don't think we have that wave this time, because we're on a different trend in terms of pricing. But everybody, I think, is going to come away from this saying, listen, it's now time where it's 100% go. So businesses, corporations, institutions, I mean, what's a Steak and Shake? Is it Steak and Shake?
I think, Steak and Shake, one of those.
Shake. They're starting to accept Bitcoin payments. You're seeing a lot of work doing where there's a secondary level to Bitcoin, a layer to Bitcoin, where, one, I'm just going to hodl it, which is another word for hold, and keep as a physical digital asset, right? Like digital gold. And then there's going to be the use case for Bitcoin where it's a payment system and it operates on the Lightning rails. So then people are gonna start using Bitcoin for payments.
Yeah, it's Steak and Shake, and they're gonna start to. I just looked it up. They're gonna start to accept Bitcoin payments at all locations starting on May 16th. So actually, it's already started.
I think In-N-Out Burger Um, and it's not that difficult. I know there are people that are like, I was talking with a friend of mine on Friday, and she said she's still nervous and scared about it. And I completely hear her and understand her. But once you see it, you kind of realize it's no different than what you already have. It's just a different nomenclature.
It's a different mode.
Yeah, that's all it is. And we're going into a world now where gaming is massive. Online sports are massive.
And it's no longer the province of just, people my age who are in, just looking to pass the time or whatever. Now it's, an activity that everybody bonds over.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, as you see and I listen into you and the rest of the kids talk, I mean, you have your own language now. Most of it, I don't even think it's English, frankly.
Don't start,
I'm not going there, I'm just observing. But we're just, again, this old system that everybody, especially the baby boomers, became attached to, that they spent their livelihoods on, is getting replaced. And it's okay because, quite frankly, from my observation, I don't think life should be that hard, right? Like, we're moving into a world where I think the creative economy will dominate. We're going to get a renaissance in terms of art and music and creativity again. We haven't had that in a long time. And it's just a life cycle that happens with humanity. And every day I watch our infrastructure, and I've had people tell me to the blue in the face, this is bullcrap, it's never going to happen. And I go, I just watch underneath.
They're furious.
Morningstar in 2019 says digital assets are an asset class. Here come the ETFs. It's on your ticker on CNBC. It's on every speaking topic and financial channel possible.
Did you ever think that half a decade ago, I
mean, even Ricky Fowler's wearing Bitcoin colors.
But no, but seriously, did you ever think half a decade ago that mainstream media networks like NBC and Fox and CBS and all of them would be covering Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, as much as they do?
Yes.
Really?
Because even negative coverage is coverage. Like, there's a guy out there, Peter Schiff, who promotes gold. And I get it. I'm a gold junkie. I love gold. But no offense, I'm not carrying a bar of gold across the world. Right? Like, What are you going to do with it? I mean, it's such an outdated mode. And
you just make yourself look like a Bond villain.
And I think with the adaptation of digital assets, you're going to demonetize gold. Gold will no longer back the monetary system of anything anymore. So gold's done in its current monetary system utility. It's great for jewelry. And sure, it has value for jewelry, and it still is, God's money, if you will. But now Bitcoin's also God's money in the digital space. You have black gold, which is oil. Gold still will be there, but it won't be as prominent.
I mean, plus, if you think about it, with the resources that are required to mine cryptocurrency, along with the resources that are required to mine gold, I mean, it's a different mode of, really, if you think about it, Bitcoin is a real asset. It's a different mode of real asset.
It totally is. And we'll tie these two together. So I just go back to Peter Schiff as the example of negative coverage is still coverage. Oh, I hate Bitcoin. Every day he says, I hate Bitcoin. Yet he's going to be at the Bitcoin conference. And at the same time, you've used Bitcoin to promote your own platform. So obviously it works for you, right? So even negative coverage is still coverage. And you just are now on a timeline where the negativity around it has changed. The rhetoric around it has changed because everybody knows, like the internet, it's inevitable. And talk about mining. So if I have to mine digital assets and coins, and basically what mining is, you're just dedicating your work to the blockchain and you're getting rewarded for your work on the network.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this last episode, like the process that goes into it, how intensive it is.
It can be. It can be costly. It does electricity because electricity is the most inefficient form of energy in the world. and why people talk about it so much. It just baffles me.
That's often why a lot of people, especially in my generation, will say it's horrible for the environment because, oh, you're using all of this power, you're using all of this energy, and it's putting all of this stuff out
If
into.
you really gave a crap about energy conservation, you would shut down the banking system because banks consume more energy than any segment of the world. Okay?
Mass mining of crypto, if you shut down the banking system, mass mining of crypto, like on a real mass level, would consume much less energy than the banking system does. All of the printing of all of the money, all of the paper that gets cut down from all of the trees.
Hey, don't even talk about that, and don't even forget you have to run your banks 24/7 with security and electricity on every branch on every corner.
Like you can't say I speak for the trees. We have to stop cutting the trees down, save the forests, while using fiat currency.
Seems hypocritical.
Just a
And
bit.
the other thing, which is really cool, is when you went to going to the Bitcoin conference, people here in this space are here to redefine humanity and life. Do you not think we're not going to recreate and redefine energy?
That's next.
Dude, you should see what they're doing with energy recapture, carbon recapture coming off of oil fields. Natural gas is going to be huge. West Virginia is going to be huge, by the way. I'm not going to spill the beans as to why, but West Virginia is going to have a big time play for a lot of reasons in energy moving forward in the United States. And then people aren't even talking about the clean energy. Okay, solar's great, but you can't do solar in places like Maine. Okay, great. So I don't want my car dead in the middle of winter when I'm stuck in an ice storm with no power.
Wait, are you telling me the sun actually shines here?
Maybe it's still not shining. Memorial Day weekend, it's terrible.
What is the sun?
I have no idea. Go back to Florida, but but the thing about it is, it's like there's so many other forms of energy. You have solar, wind. Depending on it, the windmill thing is a bunch of nonsense. Yet the wind turbines that are on skyscrapers and buildings in areas like Chicago are home runs, right? You don't see them because they're built into the roof of the buildings and they're tubular, so they're not killing your scenery. Like now you go down to the Cape Cod, I'm sorry, but Massachusetts, you have destroyed Cape Cod. Like I don't want to look into the scenery and see this windmill that doesn't even charge a 9-volt battery. But so there's different forms of wind. You know, and then you got to go hydro. Like down in Georgia, hydro's huge. And the opportunities with hydro coming off of Niagara Falls and in Western New York, down in Georgia, like Bitcoin isn't just about redefining money and finance. It's also about redefining everything that we do on a day-to-day basis.
And you think about, by the way, just on the note, just like on the note of hydro, you think like it's crazy, it's huge over here in the States. What they're doing in China, and even more so what they're doing in Africa. I mean, there are hydro plants that are going up in pretty much every African country every 5 minutes. They're going nuts over there.
Right. And if I'm an investor, I'm saying, okay, I have my money that I need today, but I have to think about the money I need tomorrow or the money that I want tomorrow. Because if I'm thinking about increasing my standard of life and getting to live the life that I want to live, what does that look like? All right. Great. I have a vision for what I want my life to look like. Okay, great. Now I have to get my money there. And if I'm getting my money in the future to my future life to where I want to live the life I want to live, well, my money better be invested in whatever's pretty big in my future self.
Exactly. So I think that's actually a pretty good place to leave it off. That is, just a little look kind of inside, building off of last episode about how exactly one gets into crypto, what are some ways to do that, and then also, as you mentioned...
Professional.
Yeah, obviously.
Do it yourself, ETF. You have the last one, which is the fourth, that don't do anything, but please don't be part of that. At least have, even if it's this much, as a just-in-case insurance policy.
But also, the upcoming Bitcoin conference that's coming up, and what you're expecting from there and what you hope to take away.
Yep.
Because it is
anything that I see that's interesting. I'm gonna I'll take videos, I'll take snapshots, I'll send it to our head of communications because as we just demonstrated this morning, I don't do well on social media, and I need other people to do.
That's why we have a team. That's why we have a team.
Right. But anything that I see that's there that I think is really cool, relevant, pertinent, any big announcements, we're going to put it out there.
I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of our approach. I feel like it all goes back to the client. I mean, we're here as your team to support you, and you're in turn here to support the client. We are all coming together to support the client because that is really our approach is, because it's like you said earlier, if you're not ahead of the curve on something, if you're not on top of something, that reflects on you. The client's going to say, why weren't you ahead of the curve on this? So it has to be about the client, and that's what a lot of professionals these days don't realize or are starting to pivot towards because they do realize.
Yeah, and I think from what I've seen in my observation is, especially in the business and the financial world, you have to be constantly evolving, right? Like, I want 10-7 Capital to be a generational play. Well, I can't be stagnant. And that's where finance has gotten a little bit old and people's belief systems have gotten old. And that's why there's such an anti-crypto and anti-Bitcoin rhetoric that started, is because everybody's just gotten old and tired and they haven't been paying attention.
Well, the rhetoric's always been there. It's just intensified as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies get larger and more prominent and more accepted.
Everything changes. There's nothing here constant except change. The only thing you can do is evolve and continue to continue to evolve. And as an organization, we have to be open.
Yeah, and that's what drives. I feel like it's the backing into a corner sort of philosophy. The more something new gets accepted, the more something jarring gets accepted. The old system, the scions of that system who, may be more averse to risk and more averse to that change and aren't as interested in adapting to it. It's like the more widespread this becomes, it's like backing an animal into a corner. The more you back that animal into a corner, the louder they're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the end of the day, those are the people that lose out.
Yep.
Miss the opportunity. And again, if you're risk adverse, you can still do it safely, right? You can still invest and have exposure and be safe with it, where it's not catastrophic to your finances. I'm not saying being risky and put all in, but you have to do it to your comfort level, and you have to at least have exposure to this space because it's now an insurance policy. And what I've learned in my time when we were the first to market on being fiduciaries, ERISA fiduciaries, and ETFs and 401ks before they got hijacked. What I have learned the most is the more pushback you have on an idea, the greater the idea it is.
Yep.
Steve Jobs was a revolutionary mind, and he got more pushback than anyone on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
We will see, obviously, where this conference takes us. Obviously, I think I speak for everybody when I say, we're looking forward to what we are going to be putting out, what we're going to be taking away from the conference. So, hope to see more of that. Any final words?
No, just keep following us here and tell us how we're doing, and anything you want us to talk about, let us know. We're happy to discuss it.
Yep. So, as always...
Enjoy every April.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lights out cocktail you've made here. But yeah, as always, this has been Crypto and Cocktails. We hope to see you soon. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And yeah, we'll see you on the flip side. Good night, Vietnam.